Hi there and welcome to a new video tutorial for Altenew. This is Nathalie DeSousa and I am so glad to have been invited to be one of the guest designers for the month of March. I love Altenew, I love the products. So this time I want to use the new release Build a Flower Dahlia and some of the watercolors to create a layout about my bouncy little niece. And for this, you're going to see that I'm going to use some archival ink just to stamp the image, the outline of the flower and the leaves onto some marshmallow cardstock from Basel. I wanted paper that was white and that was going to be able to hold mixed media, and I love working with this type of paper. So once I stamped the images, I stamped quite a few of them. I'm just going to show you one. I used the coordinating dies to cut them and before adding color. So the way I'm going to add color to this is using watercolor, and I love the pen set from Altenew. They sent me this and I'm so thankful because I love watercolor. So all I do is kind of add a wash of clear water onto each petal, and then you're going to see that I'm going to start adding a little bit of color carefully to the petal, kind of starting from whatever is closer to the center of the flower and then dragging the color outside. This way I'm going to get a more concentration of the color in the center or where the two petals meet, and it's usually where the shadows are created. Once I have that done, you're going to see that I go petal by petal. I try to skip a few petals in between so that the color doesn't get muddled, and I don't saturate the color, and this way I don't diffuse the color onto the other petals. So what I do is I do a few petals in a row, then go to another section of the flower. And I'm going to take it off camera and finish it just because it doesn't take a while, but it's going to take a lot of camera time. Once I have that set, I'm going to go ahead and start adding the same color in a more saturated way. So all I'm doing is just dipping, and I'm using the water brush that came in the set. I'm just dipping the tip of the brush in the next color of the pen set, and or the same color, but just adding the color just to the center or where the two petals meet. And this is going to start adding some depth to the flower and also adding a bit of dimension. And it's just going to create a more, it's not going to be completely natural, but a better, it's going to create some shadows, some dimension on the layout. It's going to be a bit more natural. Once I have that in place, I'm going to go start adding a little bit more shading. And for this, I'm going to bring a little bit, I think the color's Paper Bag, and it's the dark brownish tone in the water pan. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the yellow just to bring, kind of complement the tones. And all I'm going to do with this is add shading. And you're going to see that all I'm going to do is add, kind of delineate the edges of the petal above the one that I want to add the shade, and also just kind of go in the nooks and crannies of all the petals, and that's just going to bring some shadow, give the effect of dimension, kind of the layering of the petals onto the flower. And that's pretty much, like I said, I'm going to take it off camera because I did quite a bit of flowers. Now for the leaves, I'm pretty much going to follow the same idea, and all I'm doing right now is saturating the area with some water, and then I'm going to go with a mixture of the two lightest greens that come in the watercolor set, and then just give it a quick wash. Once I have the wash set on the paper, I'm going to go ahead and start picking up a little bit of the darker shades of green and just add them to the corner of the flower. You're going to see that I add all the pigment to the corner of, or the tip of the leaf, and then kind of drag the paint towards the middle. This way I'm going to create the effect of light shining on the leaf, which like the center of the leaf is kind of lighter, and then just the tips are going to get the shade. And you're going to see that I'm also going to bring a little bit of that dark pigment to where the leaves kind of are on top of each other, just to create a shadow. And like I said, I'm going to take it off camera just because I created quite a bit of them. Now for this layout, I am using a cut file from Citrus Twist Kit, and it's called Diagonal Heart. And my idea was to have this as the background. So for this, I am using, actually the paper that I'm using for this is Vicky Beauty Design foundation paper, and it's a really thick mixed media paper. So once I have the heart in place, I'm going to kind of draw the perimeter with a pencil just so I know where I can add stuff. For this one, I'm going to add a little bit of purple to the background, and I'm using Vicky Beauty art crayons and a stencil brush because I just want to add a soft shade of purple on the background. My niece is jumping on her bed, and there's a lot of purple around her covers, and her the art behind her, it has a purple tone to it. So I want to bring some of them, and that's going to emphasize also the colors of the flowers. So you're going to see that all I'm doing is just picking a bit of the art crayon, in this case with the stencil brush, and just going on a circular motion around the area where I had marked with the pencil, where I'm going to place everything, and have an idea where the clusters are going to go around the heart. Now the heart's not going to be straight onto the page, actually going to be a little bit of the slant. So I'm going to take advantage of some of those angles to add my flowers onto this layout. And that's super simple. I love working with this because it's like inking the paper, but it goes on dry and I don't have to wait for the ink to completely set before I continue working. So once I have that set, and like I said, it's going to be a very faint application of color. I don't want something that's going to stand out. I want something like a light shadow underneath my flowers. That's going to help. It's going to help set everything and make sure that all is set, and also pop the picture on the flower. Now, to make sure that I pop the pictures a bit more, I'm gonna add a bit of a frame to each one of these pictures. And I'm using a paper from the Reflections scrapbook kit from Altenew, and it had those tones of purple that actually match the ones in the picture. I added a bit of foam adhesive behind the heart just because I wanted to create a little bit of that shadow between the background and the cutout. And once I have that in place, I'm gonna glue the pictures right onto the layer. And for this, I am adding some foam adhesive underneath them just to make sure that they stand out from the background. Once I have that in place, and you're going to see that I add foam adhesive to pretty much the entire background, I'm going to just start playing with the flowers that I had colored just to create the idea that I have. And my idea is to have some clusters around the picture, especially at the bottom where that L is creating between where the two pictures are interposed. I'm going to add a cluster down there. I'm going to add another one at the top again on the same where the two pictures meet. I'm going to add another cluster, not big ones, just a small one. And then another one's going to be at the top left corner of the two pictures, just because I think it's going to create my diagonal shape, and it's going to bring the attention to the pictures all together. I'm kind of forming a triangle around the pictures, and that just makes me, and also helps me with the movement of the layout, since my niece is, like I said, is a series where she's jumping on the bed. And then just to kind of create an entire triangle for the entire page, I am going to go ahead and add another cluster of flowers kind of on the left hand side of the heart. Like I said, I put this heart on the slant just to take advantage of all the angles. And I'm going to play with all the leaves and all the flowers that I've colored. And I'm going to take it off camera actually to add foam adhesive. I'm going to add a little bit of foam adhesive and some glue behind it just to keep it in place. Didn't take long, but I don't want to show you all the it's not that it takes a long time. It's just it's going to be tedious me putting foam adhesive, and I don't think I want to bore you with that. Once I have everything set, you're going to see that I'm going to bring a few wooden buttons from the Reflections kit, scrapbook kit, just because they complemented the greens and the purples, and I want to place them at the corners. I have the top corner of the two pictures, and also where the small cluster is at the bottom left corner of the picture. After that, I kind of had a little bit of a hard time trying to with a title, creating a title. I wanted something that it was gonna suit the page without being taking over the flowers. So I pulled these alphas from Paige Evans, and then I'm adding one of the little wooden stickers from the wood sticker pieces from Altenew, and just coloring with a little bit of the artist markers set E. Now I'm gonna bring in more stamping, and for this I am gonna bring the Beautiful Blooms stamp set and some of the black crisp ink, and I'm just gonna add a few details underneath the two pictures. I'm also gonna add another one of the sentiment that says "Don't Stop" underneath the title that reads "Wild and Free," and I think it's just gonna complement what this picture is all about. It says "Wild and Free, do not stop." And then, because I want to emphasize create the clusters by adding a stamping, I'm going to bring the Frill Petals stamp set, and there's a line that says "Just Smile," the sentiment. So I'm going to add it to one of the clusters where the two pictures meet at the top. And I'm just moving some of the flowers so that I can stamp the image clearly. Once I have that in place, I'm going to bring the mini hello set, also from Altenew, to stamp the word hello right up in between the two clusters on the left hand side of the layout. So that's between the picture and the one that has holding the title. And once I have that in place, I'm gonna go ahead and add my lines of journal. And since I didn't want to take away from all the flowers, I'm just gonna go around the perimeter of the heart, just writing a little bit about what this picture is all about. And that's pretty much it. The only thing that you don't see me put in camera is that I added a few droplets of Cosmic Berry spray ink, and also a little bit of the white ink around the layout, and that's about it. Super simple. Love how this turned out. all the colors of the flowers complement also the pictures, and I love the movement that I've created on the layout, and I hope you try it. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to help you, and thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back in a little bit with another project for Altenew. Take care.